everybody, what's going on? Today I have a book review for you. Today I'm reviewing Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. I apologize if I sound weird, I just bit my tongue and my tongue is very swollen, so I'm gonna do this review anyways because I feel like I have a lot to say about this book and it was really amazing, so let's just get into it. This book was originally written in French. I obviously cannot speak French, so I read it in English. It's a story about a young girl, Marjane, coming of age in Iran during the Islamic Revolution. I feel like I learned a lot from this book. This is the type of stuff that they don't teach you in high school, and I feel like I'm able to retain the information a lot more because it was told in such a way that was so relatable to me. The way she uses storytelling but historically accurate events and interweaves those together makes it just a really impactful story. Some things that were mentioned in this book often, I just wrote down some things and themes: fundamentalism, communism, anarchism, traditional versus modern views and values, the philosophy of resignation, rebellion and individualism, the price of freedom, and fear and bravery. And in there she also talks a lot about what the war does to families and how it impacts her immediately. And I don't mean like immediately in time, I mean immediately within her family members. What I really liked about this was that Marjane wasn't afraid to point out her low points in life or her failures at all. She was brutally honest in that, and I think that that made it a lot more honest and vulnerable and just a lot more enjoyable in general. Not that I enjoy reading about people's failures, but she wasn't afraid to go there and show you all the truths. Although I grew up in a vastly different environment than Marjane did, I feel like I was able to relate to her in the way that she showed her struggle to find herself. She was constantly reinventing herself, but still always came back to that trueness of like who she truly is. And I feel like for some reason that's something that resonated with me, and I was able to relate to her in that way. I'm gonna read to you guys a little passage that I highlighted in the introduction of this book. I thought that it was really important, and it kind of shows her intentions in writing this book. It says, "This old and great civilization has been discussed mostly in connection with fundamentalism, fanaticism, and terrorism. As an Iranian who lived more than half of my life in Iran, I know that this message is far from the truth. This is why writing Persepolis was so important to me. I believe that an entire nation should not be judged by the wrongdoings of a few extremists. I also don't want those Iranians who lost their lives in prisons defending freedom, who died in the war against Iraq, who suffered under various repressive regimes, or who were forced to leave their families and flee their homeland, to be forgotten. One can forgive, but one should never forget." I just feel that she did an amazing job at doing this, like doing what she intended. I think that more people should realize that this image that we have in our media today, this tainted image of Middle Eastern countries being birthers of terrorism, and that image being perpetuated by Islamophobia, is not the commonplace in those countries, and it's not a realistic view of those countries. And I think the reason why she was able to pull this off was because she showed how relatable her life is, and also she was brutally honest about her environment and she wasn't afraid to show everything. So when I read books, I like to dog-ear the bottom edges of the pages just so I know like my favorite sections of the book, and then I'll star the panels or the sections of the book that I really enjoyed. So I want to read a couple for you guys just to give you an idea. Here's one. It says, "The more time passed, the more I became conscious of the contrast between the official representation of my country and the real life of the people, the one that went on behind the walls." And I think that this panel, it just kind of encapsulates the whole like feeling of the book in general, and it was like something about that was just like so impactful to me. Another quote I wrote on the back flap, I'm just going to read it out for you guys. It says, "It is fear that makes us lose our conscience. It's also what transforms us into cowards." And I think that the idea of the theme of fear weaving throughout this book was really, I don't know, something about that quote. It's true for everyone, and it definitely is true in this book. Needless to say, I enjoyed this book. I loved every image, every word on every page. I gave it a 5-star on Goodreads. Just to give you an idea of the other types of praise that this book has got, Patrick Rothfuss, the author of Name of the Wind, gave this book a 5 stars, and he even claimed that if Goodreads gave him the option, like say if for every 100 books you read, you get 1 6-star review to give, he would give it to this book. So I'm not the only one who feels that this book is amazing. I would recommend this book to literally everyone, especially someone that wants to get into graphic novels, doesn't know much about it, or who thinks that graphic novels are all like comic booky, because this definitely is not it. It deals with a lot of serious issues, but it also is very enjoyable in terms of the storytelling. I am so excited because this book is actually a film now, and it was animated by Marjane herself. She's a cartoonist that's living in Paris now, but she worked with Sony Pictures to create an amazing film. I saw the trailer for it and I'm excited to go watch it. I'm pretty sure it's in French, but then I'll be able to brush up on my French. So I'm excited to watch it. Maybe I'll do a review on the film as well as see how close it is with the graphic novel. I'm sure it's gonna be very similar because they're both by the same person. But yeah, so I'm excited for that. Anyways, I just love this book. Let me know if you've read this book before and what you thought of it, and if you haven't, if you would be willing to read this. I think that everyone should just pick it up and glance at it at least, see if it's for you. I think it's for everyone. So let me know what you think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching again. I will see you very soon in my next video, and until then, happy reading and happy writing. Bye.